I'm gonna do whatever it freaking takes to lose this lower belly fat and get these goddamn lower abs to come in. Ha! Ha! Alright guys, enough of that. What if I was to tell you that these two common ab exercises that I just did are pretty much completely and totally useless when performed this way? You'd be pretty shocked, right? Especially since every fitness magazine and fitness expert is telling you to do leg raises to build nice V-cut lower abs. Well, I'm telling you not to do these exercises, and to be more specific, I'm telling you that you're just working your abs plain wrong. Let me show you exactly what I mean. So first you have to understand a little more about how your abs work. First of all, that six-pack that everybody knows, loves, and wants is just one out of 4 major portions of your abs and is known as the rectus abdominis. You still also have the transverse abdominis, which is your deepest layer of abdominal muscle, and that muscle is primarily responsible for keeping your core tight, supporting your lower back, and pulling your stomach in. And then we also have our internal and external obliques, responsible primarily for lateral flexion and rotation. The rectus abdominis, or the six-pack, is the muscle you want to work when you're trying to build your lower abs, and its main responsibility is trunk flexion. You also want to work your obliques as well. And it's super important to realize what that is to build abs more effectively, okay? So trunk flexion is simply put bending around the trunk area. So here. So this has to happen in the trunk area. You have to be bending here. Now there's a big difference when this happens in the trunk area and when it happens in the hip and the pelvic area. When that movement happens in the hip and the pelvic area, that's when you start working your hip flexors, not your abs. So let's get back to the gym so I can show you the proper way to get shredded lower abs with 5 exercises that'll be done in a way that you may have never ever seen before. For the first lower ab exercise, we're going to do a pike with Val slides and a resistance band. Remember, resistance and weights are important for building ab muscles, so try to incorporate weights and increase resistance as often as you can. So for the pike, if you're using a resistance band, wrap it around something sturdy and then put your Val slides directly under the resistance band. Then step with your toes in the center of the Val slides and wrap the resistance band around your ankles. Next, you're going to walk out until you feel that the resistance is challenging enough, and then you're going to go and attempt to bring your toes to your hands. Keep in mind, even in a position like this, we're still going to go for more trunk flexion. When your butt gets to the top of the movement, try to curl your hips into your abs and chest. A regression for this movement would be to remove the resistance band. For the next exercise, we're going to correct the leg raises we were doing wrong earlier. By just raising your legs up and down, you're working mostly your hip flexors, which we don't want to do. You can do leg raises if you incorporate a crunch in your trunk area at the end of the movement with a pulse, for example. Or another way to do this entirely is to bend your knees, put a weight between your feet, and do a variated form of a reverse crunch. Again, you would want to try to curl your hips and your knees into your abs and chest, and really make sure that you squeeze those abs. By doing this exercise on a bench, you'll be able to stretch past the point of neutral, getting more muscle fiber recruitment. For the next lower ab exercise, we have the TRX Knee Tucks, and it's just as important as ever that you do this exercise correctly to actually target your lower abs. Start with your feet inside the TRX and come up into a push-up position. Then you tuck your knees into your chest, and again, make sure that you try to curl your hips to engage your core. You can actually also do pikes with the TRX as well, and if done correctly, it could be the progression for the TRX Knee Tucks. Just remember to curl those hips in. Now, we're going to correct the hanging knee tucks that we were doing earlier, so you can still do them, it just has to be different. Just hanging off of a bar and throwing your knees up and down without using your hips is useless. And I would say that that's what most people do whenever they do hanging knee tucks or hanging leg raises. Doing it this way, once again, only works your hip flexors, not your lower abs. Take a wild guess what you have to do to get the abs involved in the movement. You guessed it, you have to have that trunk flexion. So when you tuck your knees, you want to try to curl them into your chest. It's almost like in all of these exercises, you're aiming to do crunches with your hips and legs rather than just raising your feet up and down. And an advanced version of this exercise would have you curling your knees far enough back to touch the bar with your toes. This exercise, if done correctly, you'll definitely feel it in your lower abs. It's a very effective and challenging lower abdominal exercise. For the last exercise, we have dragon flags. And also as a regression, we have dragon thrusters. Now, this is not a lower ab specific exercise, but it's an amazing exercise to work your entire core, including your lower abs. The main difference between this exercise and leg raises is that your hips are also off the ground. With leg raises, your hips are always on the ground and only your legs are being raised, which can prevent trunk flexion and only make you use hip flexion. On this exercise, you should grab something sturdy behind your head to hold onto it. When you first start this exercise, you're just going to want to do a kind of beginner version, so concentrate on mastering the eccentric portion. So you cheat your way to the top by doing more of a pulse up, and then when you're up, almost on your traps and neck, you're going to want to lower your whole body in a straight line as slowly as you can. And then again, raise straight up and then lower down. A more advanced way would obviously be to do both the concentric and eccentric portion of the movement. So pretty much eliminate the pulse up in the beginning of the movement where you were cheating your way to the top. Here you're actually going to raise your way up, which makes the movement way more advanced and way more difficult. But that's it, guys. Those are my 5 most favorite exercises to build lower abs. Now keep in mind, even though this will build your lower ab muscles, even if your diet isn't clean, you do have to have a proper diet to burn away excess fat sitting on top of your abs. You can target which muscles you want to build. For example, you can target your lower abs. However, you can't target fat burn. So the best way to burn belly fat is to burn fat from your whole body as one unit. And the best way to burn fat from your whole body is through diet modification. The good news is that I have plenty of meal prep videos that teach you how to make your own meal plan from scratch, and I'll link up these videos right now at the end. And what you can do is you can combine one of my meal prep videos with this video to work on burning the fat and building the lower ab muscles. I really hope this video has helped you guys out. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you're notified when I release new tips and tricks just like this. I'll see you guys soon. Pump it.